All right. Hey guys, welcome to an update for cognitive drawing. What I got here is a printout of the entire 60 pages of cognitive drawing that I've recently just put onto Gumroad. And I just wanted to give you a quick walkthrough of this PDF and what to expect if you are interested in it. So we got the cover page, obviously, and it says here, please don't distribute this or sell this book, because of course I'd like them to get it from me. But you know, if you have a household of 18 people and you all want to participate, I'm more than happy with you printing it out 18 times. The way this book is designed is to be printed out on 8.5 by 11 paper like this, and I use this hammer mill paper because it's nice and thick and it's really easy to draw on it. You can draw on it really nicely with pencils, and you get nice shading and stuff. Anyway, this pencil's dull. It walks you through kind of in a Scott McCloud style comic how I came up with cognitive drawing, why I came up with it, and the necessity behind it. Basically, I was living in the middle of nowhere as a kid, and I had a hard time finding people to help me draw in a certain style. So I came up with this idea: if I find an artist that I like, find an angle or an eyeball or a hand or something, I look at it quickly, look at the reference, cover it up. I don't try to memorize it. I just draw it as good as I can from my mind, as good as I can do it. And then I compare my drawing to the professional drawing, the one that I'm trying to imitate. And what that does is it's kind of like having this professional artist look over your shoulder and say, that's a good eyeball, but you could draw it this way instead. And so then you compare the two, and it's after you've already attempted it once. I think this is the big connection where your brain can really start connecting these dots. And then after you've done it once without looking at anything, then you try it again from the reference. And then you start really seeing the difference of the things that you missed. You really start putting together these pieces. And it trains you to see things clearly. It trains you how to understand what you're looking at and how to break down art and how to really understand styles and nuances of styles. So anyway, you just keep repeating this process. So I applied this to everything, and I just imitated all my favorite artists. And that's really how my style developed, I think. And you know, at the age of 20, I moved to Hollywood and started working in storyboarding, and I was sold as the fast artist who could, you know, draw any kind of style. So anyway, again, it just talks about how this is made to be printed out, and then I walk you through some hopefully very clear steps on how to just do this from the ground up. So hopefully you don't even need this video to explain it to you. So this is what you want to learn how to draw. Cover it up really quick. Don't look at it any longer than that, and draw it here from memory in this second box. And then when you're done with that, you can compare what you drew, and then you can draw it from the reference to here. And then you cover that up again, draw it from memory. And this time I guarantee you will have a way better understanding of what you're drawing, and you'll remember these nuances. I laid out some rules. These are things that in teaching people this, people have tried different things, and there's a lot of ways that it doesn't work, and there's a couple simple ways that it does work. And rule one is pencil and eraser, because it's not about doing a perfect first line. It's about drawing it as nicely as you can. It's not a race. No peeking, because why are you doing it if you're going to cheat? I mean, it doesn't make sense. Rule 4 is only look at your reference drawing for a few seconds, because you're not trying to memorize it yet. You just want to know the angle, what it is, and the angle. That's all you're trying to do for that first drawing. And it talks about more stuff. And so we do a full-on cognitive drawing exercise. And I wish I would have put numbers here, but I didn't. Maybe beta. There. Maybe beta 2.1 will have the numbers in there. Anyway, so this is the first one where you do a full exercise just to see if it works for you, explaining reasons why we're doing this every day. And then we start out with a test of just drawing a guy, a muscly guy, as good as you can. And this is so that you can see the results from before and after, because you'll be asked to do this again at the end of the PDF. 85% of the people who do this have humongous crazy awesome results. And you know, cognitive drawing is a real specific way of practicing. It's not for everyone. So if you find it just doesn't work for you, then I get it. I understand. You can ask for a refund and all that stuff. So and then we start going into proportions, and you start noticing that there's these day markers here, and it's just to help you break down these lessons into sizable chunks. So it talks about breaking down the proportions, and then it gives you a simple exercise to copy, and then you can do a cognitive drawing here, where you look at the guy and you try to do what you memorized the best you can, draw it again from reference, cover it all up, draw it from memory again. Then of course there's, not of course, but then there's a nice test of, can you do it upside down, because proportions are something that you should be able to map out and be able to do it upside down. We talk about some of the science behind cognitive drawing. When I developed this, I didn't think about the science. It just worked for me really well, and I didn't know why. But there's some things that I've learned since then that cognitive psychology has shown reasons that it works. If you come back to it a couple times with sleep in between, your brain produces more solid memories. So anyway, you're asked to practice it one more time. Then we go into like day 4. There's little tutorials which you're asked to recreate, because my whole thought process with recreating these tutorials is, if you can teach someone else to do this, then you really understand it. So that's why the tutorials, I ask you to recreate the tutorials. Then we're asked to do cognitive drawing with one of these pairs of eyes, or you can pick a different drawing of eyes if you want. You know, first memory, then reference, memory, reference. So same cognitive drawing with a nose. And this whole idea is, you do this, you know, and you can print this page out 5 times and do all these mouths and really memorize the nuance of how to draw different kinds of mouths. And the whole idea is, if you do cognitive drawing with the styles that you love and all the angles and details that you love, then you'll memorize it. And we go into other things like breaking down just the basic face structure, and so you can actually get that into your memory. And then here's this thing I call sleep on it, where you practice the same thing you did cognitive drawing on the day before and do it again, just to kind of consolidate those memories. And you should be able to draw all those facial features onto this face in the appropriate positions now, because you've practiced it and did cognitive drawing with all those different elements. So we you know, and this is just a kind of a starter kit. You should be able to take this and start applying it to everything that you want. This is how I learned how to draw. So it talks about shapes, finding shapes in everything. You have a basic guy, you should be able to break it down to shapes, and no way is wrong. Like, so how would you break down this character into shapes? And then the ultimate exercise for the shapes is taking this classic drawing by Leonardo and redrawing it here with shapes, just so you can start thinking in shapes. And then we talk about breaking down the arm into simpler shapes. There's exercises for putting the muscles over top of these shapes. And then we start doing cognitive drawing with certain muscles, certain muscle groups. And I have a photo reference for this drawing, and the idea is, again, cover up that as soon as you see it, and then try to draw that as good as you can with what you know right now. And then when you uncover it, you can start seeing the problem areas in your drawing. And I mean, a lot of times when you're starting out, everything's a problem area. But you can start comparing these things, what you did to what a professional would do, or what a photograph would look like. And so then the second drawing, you do it while you're looking at the reference, then cover it all up and do it from memory again. And you keep repeating that. The last one is a sleep on it. Just go to bed at night, wake up the next day that you do these exercises. You can finish that one before you start the next page. It also talks a little bit about muscle memory and how you can just do little practice exercises. You're basically building muscle memory in your hands, which is you just have to put in a lot of mileage to start seeing the benefit of this. Every now and then there'll be one of those. And then more cognitive drawing of different angles of the arm, different things. And then we take a little break and do a cognitive drawing of a classic drawing of a cat. You know, it works for almost anything. There's certain things it doesn't work for. Day 14, this one's a little different. This page is designed to be laid out next to each other like this. You look at this side and you draw the arms on the opposite side, and so it really helps your brain to start thinking in a mirror image, and that's really helpful for really understanding what's going on in these shapes if you do a mirror image of it, or upside down like we did on the previous example. And then more cognitive drawing here of this arm, and you can see the mirror image of it, but you know, cover it up, draw it from memory, uncover it, and then draw it from the reference. And then here's a mirror image of it, draw it from memory, draw it from reference. And then this is just more studying the muscle groups here in the neck. And so you can look straight at the photo and my sketch over top of it, and then recreate these or finish these drawings out here from looking on it, looking at the image, just the neck from different angles. And then the next day there's a cognitive drawing exercise, and then we take another little break and just to try cognitive drawing on something like architecture. It's amazing what you can retain from this. Something this complicated, if you do this just a couple times, you really start memorizing the details, and it's really mind-blowing how great this is for memorizing this stuff. When I was on Kung Fu Panda, there was a lot of architecture on Chinese architecture that I'd never drawn before, and doing this kind of thing really just ingrained it into my mind, and I just knew how these buildings were built, and so I could just apply that to everything from that point on, just out of my head, and it was just great. Another arm cognitive drawing exercise. Then we get into breaking down how to draw the torso and the right proportions and everything. And I ask you to recreate this tutorial here. And then at the end I ask you to go and try to teach this to someone else. Because again, it's about teaching someone else how to do it is really when you start understanding it yourself, I think. If you can teach someone and they understand it. So then the next day is drawing, either copying these frames over here or drawing a bunch of torsos yourself using that technique we learned the day before. And then we get into more cognitive drawing with the torso, muscle memory. Here is another way. This is another way of doing the torso. You can recreate this tutorial here. This one's more based on shapes. This is actually one I created for myself back in the day. It was a combination of a bunch of different tutorials that I looked at, and I just kind of added them all to put a bunch of pieces together that I liked and created this little tutorial with it. And I don't know of anyone teaching it this way, but it creates a nice shaped muscular torso if you can break it down like this. Then another cognitive drawing exercise here of the torso. It asks you to go back and check to see if you've finished all the sleep on it panels. And then again, we've gone through the whole torso from the front and arms. Draw one again from memory the best that you can. And then after you're all done, I like to encourage people to put these side by side and see the results. And if they're great results, I love it if you take a picture of it and put it on social media and say that this is cognitive drawing that is working for you. So anyway, there's that. I guess I just talk about that right here and how this book is kind of the beginning of something a lot bigger, and I would love it to expand and grow into something that could cover anatomy from all angles, both male and female. But that's going to be hundreds of pages, probably 300 pages, and this is only 60. And I've had it all planned out, but it's just a lot of work to make the tutorials and execute it properly. And here's just some cognitive drawing sheets at the end where you can put a piece of reference there or do it in the computer and print it out with the reference you want and do cognitive drawing with the reference. Or you can do it on a blank piece of paper as well. That's how I did it when I was younger. So that is the whole book. I really hope you guys try it. The results have been phenomenal with people who've tried this technique, and I've never seen it anywhere else. I've never seen anyone teach it. I've never seen anyone make a book on it. As far as I know, I've been doing this for 20 years and I don't know anyone else who does it. So I figured, hey, why not make a book on it? So that's this. Please share it if you guys like it. If you download it and like it, please share it. You know, the more people are doing this and downloading it and sharing it, the more it's going to inspire me to keep making additional lessons that will just continue adding to this package. And every new lesson, I'll just do a beta 2.1 with another, 6 pages on hands or something, or heads at different angles, or I don't know what it will be. But I have a lot of it planned out. It's just a matter of putting it all together and executing it. I hope you guys like this. Again, it's at gumroad.com/Jason Brubaker is where you can find it, and it's $10. And thank you guys for checking this out. We'll see you guys later. And please, if you do this, I'd love to see your results, and I would love your feedback, because this is still a beta, and I really want to refine this thing to be, an amazing starter kit for people learning how to draw and learning how to learn how to draw. Learning how to learn how to draw. So anyway, I hope this helps, and let me know what you guys think. Bye.